So here's the issue. What I would say is, you're challenging it legally. Are you arguing that there's a constitutional right to have classroom instruction for first graders about things like transgender and gender ideology? I can't imagine that a court would accept that. Clearly on appeal, a court wouldn't accept that. So these are policy decisions. I don't think it's anything that's invoking First Amendment, because schools, states and localities have the ability to set curriculum in public schools. We do that all the time. This is not new. You know, we require Holocaust studies and that be taught. There was a principal in this county, I think, that was not willing to do that or was denying that, and then that there was discipline, and there should be. Now, as a First Amendment matter, you can go on the street corner and say whatever you want about those issues, but in terms of when we get in school, you know, we have certain standards and we want to uphold those standards. So I don't think that any of the legal claims have merit, but I am mindful. I mean, you know, there are certain judges, if there's a cause du jour out there, you know, they could potentially stretch the law to try to do that. I don't think that's going to happen in this case, but the bottom line is, you know, we are going to defend this vigorously. I would also note, the law doesn't take effect until July 1st. So, you know, I think obviously it's a law that's been shown when people have read the language. You have huge support across the board, regardless of party and regardless of a lot of different things. And I think it's going to be fine. But nevertheless, you can't say that anyone's been injured by it because it has not actually been put into effect. I would also say it's really focusing on what's appropriate for schools to do. It doesn't even regulate student speech. Like someone said, a student can't write an essay. They can do whatever they want. That's not what the bill does. But the bill does provide substantive protections for parents, which I think is very, very important, because there's a movement to say that somehow parents should just butt out of the schools. I think that that's wrong. I think it's important that they know what's being taught in schools and also what's being done vis-a-vis their students. I had a constituent from Leon County who was at our press conference when we signed the bill, and her daughter was in school up in Leon County, and some of the people at school decided that her daughter was really a boy and wanted to identify as a boy. So they changed her name, they changed her, quote, pronouns, they did these things without telling the mother, much less getting the mother's consent. And I'm thinking to myself, as a father of three young kids, to send your kid to school and have them take that type of action without your knowledge or consent, that is fundamentally wrong. And I can tell you, us parents, you know, we're united on issues like that. We have a role. We're the primary role to play in the upbringing of these kids. And so I think that, you know, the good thing about having a lawsuit like this is, you know, you can do sloganeering in the media. You know, you can put up, you know, whatever you want in terms of political, even though it's false narratives, you can do that. But when you actually get inside of a courtroom, you know, you're going to have to show what you're talking about. And the fact of the matter is, none of the criticism I've really seen has actually dealt with the substance of the bill. It's more about narrative that's been done to try to really advance more of a political agenda. Look, I think that I understand why the left is doing that. I mean, they're moribund in terms of their enthusiasm with the upcoming election. You know, obviously Biden has had a rough year plus of his presidency. You see that. There's not a lot of enthusiasm for what he's doing. So I think they're trying to find ways to kind of rev up the base a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, you know, that's not going to fly when you get into a courtroom. So we'll be successful on that. You know, all the stuff we've done, you know, we always will get challenged no matter what we do. And sometimes in front of certain district judges, we know we'll lose no matter what because they're not going to follow the law. But we always win on appeal. And I think that I don't know if it'll even get to that point in this case, but certainly with the voting election integrity, that's going to be upheld. It's just a matter of when.